Hello everyone, welcome back to Shrewd Archery, and today we're finally doing the review of the Shrewd Revel Stabilizer and the Rex extension all in one, all together as one really nice shooting system. Now, I've had the chance to really work with this piece of equipment now for several weeks, so I'm going to start off talking about some of the cosmetic things with this stabilizer and then work into how it functioned for me, how I have it set up, the lengths of my bar and things like that, and just my overall thoughts on this stabilizer. So let's get started with the the cosmetics, the look of this, and just how the finish and things held up. So first off, the look of this stabilizer. I really like how they were able to make a nice thin stabilizer with a really stiff bar. They actually have all the numbers for that on their website, which is cool. I like how it starts off with a nice thin bar, and then as we work towards the end of this stabilizer, it just slowly increases, but it really ties in everything. It's not like an abrupt, oh, the bar ends, oh, now here's the dampener, or here's the weights. It does have a really nice look to that, which is a touch. A lot of stabilizers don't bother with that. And I don't know, there's something about the aesthetics of a piece of equipment, especially in archery. It really helps make it, better. Maybe not so much on the performance end, but how it works and flows with the rest of your bow, because it's all about style points. So now that leads us to the the finish on the rod itself. I like it. It doesn't really pick up a lot of, you don't see a lot of fingerprints on it. Now, I guess if your hands were dirty or something, yes, you're gonna leave some kind of residue on it. But other than that, it does seem to stay fairly clean. Also, the Shrewd logo and their design on the rod is all under, I guess, the clear coat, or however they put the finish on this. But it's nice and seamless. You're not running into a sticker, so you're not going to have to worry about that sticker coming off. So that's cool because that's protected. Next up, I want to get into the ends of the rods, and this is for both the side rods and the front rod. Very nice. They're nice and machined. They're metal, not plastic or even like an ABS. Nice and strong. They're going to hold their position. They're not going to change. Some companies have switched to using plastic, and I don't. It's fine, but I really feel like you're getting a better value, with the metal, and it's really not that much heavier than the plastic, but it's going to be so much more durable. And isn't that the point? You want something that you're putting your money into to be made well and to last. So I like that. I also really like the anodizing on the ends of the stabilizer here. Besides them being metal, they're also anodized really well. I haven't had any problems with weird colorations. Everything is the same color. They didn't miss any spots over at Shrewd, so it's nice to see that they're really thorough with that. The surface of them has held up pretty well. I'm not intentionally trying to damage them, but you do bump into things, especially with a long stabilizer going in and out of doorways and things like that, and they've held up really nicely, so that's a big plus there. So that pretty much wraps up the cosmetic side of things. Now I want to get into the Rex extension on this bow, so let's talk about that. Now onto the Rex extender. I really like the Rex extender here. It does a great job keeping the V-bar on this bow nice and straight. I've had problems in the past with other companies, not all the time, but definitely if I bumped into my stabilizer, or if I had a weird shot and the V-bar bumped into my leg or something, then I'm messing with my V-bar, and then you don't always notice it on the next shot, and then you're drawing back and you're going to shoot and you're like, why does this shot feel so weird? And it's like, oh, because my V-bar is it's going crazy. Now, two other things I want to touch on with the Rex extender is I like the indicators on the extension itself, so that you know that you're lining your shelf up to the right spot every time if you're going to keep this extension on a particular riser, or it gives you the ability to change it for another riser and then switch back to your first one, and you can write down the numbers that you set your shelf too, so that it's easy and really repeatable to get the same level. Even though you can just eye it up and you're going to be really accurate just like that. And the second one will be the holes. It has a hole in the extension. That way you can go put your Allen key in or your screwdriver. Way easier to tighten and loosen this thing from the bow. Way better than using your hand and then, you know, possibly having to break out pliers or something really terrible and really marking up all your equipment. So that wraps up my thoughts on the Rex extension. I want to move back to the main Revel Stabilizer. I want to talk about the main dampeners and weights that come with this stabilizer, and I really think it's really great that Shrewd includes these. So with the front stabilizer, it came with a doinker, and it came with 2 of these silver weights. I only have one on now because, you know, I've customized it to how I want my bow to react with this stabilizer, and it comes with one of these. I call it an end cap, but it's just it's an end weight with the Shrewd logo on it. Now the silver ones I have on here, you get 2 of them, so you get 2 ounces. They're 2 ounces each, so 4 ounces plus the black end cap. That's another ounce, so you're looking at 5 ounces worth of weight plus the doinker. So that's really nice that they include so much weight with the bow. And of course you can cut it all the way down to running, you know, just the doinker and just, you know, the 1 ounce logo end cap. One thing I want to touch on with the Shrewd logo end caps here is they have kind of like a, and maybe you can hear it. Maybe it's not quite a gel. I don't know the appropriate term, but basically when I go and stick my front rod down to use it as my personal walking stick, because of that, it's very hard to get it to slip on a surface, which is nice because the last thing you want me to see is me leaning on my stabilizer and going, ah, you know, and then just eating it, because that's gonna hurt, and then I'll probably break something either on me or on my bow, and then that won't be good. So really cool that you know, works the way it does. Some other stabilizers don't put that kind of thought into it, or the part is an additional like add-on where you have to buy it separately. So pretty cool that that comes with it, and you know, it helps protect the weight and at the same point in time protects you from eating it, literally. So just like the front rod, you get the same thing on the back. Now of course I'm only running a doinker and 1 ounce on each side, but you also get 2 more of the 2 ounce the silver ones like you saw on the front. So your weights for both your side rods and your front rods will essentially match, unless you choose to, you know, take some off like I did. Now on that, I want to show you a closer look at the weights themselves. Okay, so I do just want to touch on real quick how nice the weights are on this. They have nice grooves on the outside to give you some grip if you do want to remove them from your bow. They're machined really nicely, and they even come together very well. You know, most companies are just making, you know, really plain discs that are usually really small, and it's really hard to get a good grip on. I find that these are pretty easy to take off your bow. Now, of course, if you do over tighten, you're probably still going to have, you know, some kind of struggle. But for the most part, though, my experience has been that they are, you know, they're good. They do their job, and if you want to take them apart, you can definitely take them apart. The screws they have in them have Allen key heads on them, so you can get an Allen key in there and take them apart that way as well. I just find that's really important, especially if a company's going to go out of their way and actually like put grooves on it so you can take it apart. So now that we covered things like the extension, you know, the V-bars, how it looks, the weights, now I want to get into how it's shot for me. Overall, this bar, even though it's so thin, is, you know, really stiff. So that's nice. I do like a nice stiff bar. I don't want it waving out there. And then on that note, with the dampener on this, it's a really quiet stabilizer. This is the quietest stabilizer that I have shot so far. Even shooting it in the shooting shack here, where I'm only shooting out of a very small window, and I have walls pretty much right, they're really close. So there's, if there is any noise, it really echoes. This stabilizer seems to really take all the vibration and noise out of the bow. So the stabilizer itself does a good job directing, that vibration and stuff towards the dampeners, and the dampeners are just really taking it out of your shot. Very cool that they they did a really good job setting up this stabilizer to work in that manner. I feel like there's a lot of stabilizers that need dampeners just to really function, because I don't know, they're like inherently like full of vibration for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's the type of carbon they're using or how they're designed or built, but for this one, I think the dampeners just really put the icing on the cake. They make this stabilizer unbelievably quiet, the quietest I've ever shot, and at the same point in time, they're actually taking the vibration out of the bow. So I think it's a good pairing, and it's really cool that the rods already come with dampeners. You don't have to buy them separately. So before I get into my final thoughts on this and maybe little critiques that I have, I do want to give you my lengths that I was using. So this is a 30-inch Revel front rod, and for my side rods, I am using 12-inch side rods. So now let me get into my final thoughts on this. So the two things I liked the most about this stabilizer was, one, how the Rex extension works with not moving your V-bars. It's a big thing. I know it's not necessarily just for the Revel, but that idea as a whole is really fantastic. And then how it ties in with the rest of Shrewd's stabilizer system. I think that was a really cool design and a really great idea on their part. And for the second one, I was really happy with how well the rod worked in conjunction with the dampener. I feel like some other companies, they fight each other almost. Like the rods fighting the dampener, or there's just not a good pairing. I feel like the setup for these is really good because it is the quietest setup that I have shot on a bow so far, and I've had quite a few stabilizers. If you've seen my unofficial stabilizer world record, I've had quite a few. So this was really, really impressive. And last but not least, I just want to talk about things that I may want to change. And really, after using this piece of equipment now for several weeks, I can only really come up with one, and it's not really that major. So on the side rods and the front rods, I would like to see maybe a hole in there. I know, me and holes. Anyway, but it's just nice to be able to fit a tool into something if you do over tighten, because I probably have a habit of tightening things too much, because the last thing I want is to be, at 70 meters, I shoot my shiny here, because, because I didn't tighten something up enough. So I probably have a habit of tightening things too much just because I don't want to deal with any kind of accidental vibrations due to me not tightening enough. So that would probably be the one thing I would want added to this stabilizer. Just that, just the hole at the bottom of each one. So one for each side rod and then one for the front rod. It would make separating it probably even easier. I haven't had a problem, honestly, but somebody might. So that wraps up this review of the Shrewd Revel stabilizer and the Rex extension. Hopefully you found this video interesting and helpful on maybe helping you make a decision on a stabilizer. I know there's a lot out there. Other than that, I've enjoyed shooting it, and I enjoyed sharing this with you. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, maybe even subscribe. And as always, happy shooting.